All right, today we're diving deep into one of the most important texts in all of Western esotericism, the Asclepius. It's often called the perfect discourse of the legendary sage Hermes Trismegistus. And believe me, it lays out a vision of the cosmos, humanity, and our place in it all that is, well, it's profound, definitely challenging, and you might find it strangely relevant to our world today. Right out of the gate, the text hits you with this: man is a great miracle. This isn't just some nice, fluffy compliment. No, this is a radical declaration that puts us, humanity, right at the center of a huge cosmic drama. It's a statement about our potential and our responsibility, and it really sets the stage for everything that's about to unfold. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with this core idea, this fundamental paradox of existence, called the one and the all. Then, we'll map out the entire Hermetic universe. After that, we'll zero in on humanity's unique role, the critical choice we all have to make. And finally, we're going to unpack a pretty chilling prophecy about destruction and the ultimate promise of renewal.
Okay, first things first. We have to wrap our heads around the central principle of all Hermetic thought, and it's a big one. It's an idea that really challenges how we see reality every single day. The concept that unity and, well, everything else aren't opposites at all. They're actually two sides of the very same divine coin.
So what does this actually mean? Well, Hermes argues that before anything was ever created, it all existed inside the mind of the Creator. So the universe isn't some separate thing that God made. It's an expression of God. All things, he says, are the Creator's limbs. That separation we think we see, between you and me, the stars, the ground beneath our feet, it's all in a way just an illusion.
And here's the kicker. This isn't something you can just learn from a book. Hermes is really clear about this. True understanding isn't about intellect, it's an experience. It's a total shift in your consciousness, a moment where the lines between yourself and the universe just dissolve, and you finally see the deep underlying unity of everything. But you might be thinking, okay, if everything is one, then what about all the different stuff in the world? It's a fair question, and to answer it, Hermes lays out a universe that is both perfectly unified and at the same time beautifully ordered. He calls it a great chain of being. Think of it like a cascade of divine energy. At the very top, you have the supreme God, the unmanifest one. This God creates the cosmos, the visible universe, which is so magnificent it's seen as a second God. Below that, you have celestial gods, then what the text calls demons, and we're not talking about evil demons here. Think of them more like spirits or intermediaries. Then there's us, human beings. And finally, at the very bottom, you have simple, inert matter. The crucial part is that it's all linked. Influence is constantly flowing down from the higher levels to the lower ones. Hermes also makes this really key distinction to explain how things last within this hierarchy. He separates the individual form from its archetype or its class. So a single person, you or me, we're mortal, will perish. But humankind as an idea, as an archetype, that's immortal. The individual form is part of the temporary many, but the class it belongs to is part of the eternal, imperishable one. And that brings us to the absolute heart of the Asclepius: us, humanity. We're not just some other link in the chain. According to Hermes, we have this totally unique, powerful position that makes us, just like he said at the beginning, a great miracle.
I mean, this is a mind-blowing claim. After the supreme God and after the cosmos itself, Hermes says that man is the third God. And he's not speaking in metaphors here. He means it. It's a statement about our basic nature and our job in the cosmos. So what on earth gives us this divine status?
It all comes down to our twofold nature. We're the ultimate bridge between worlds. Part of us is divine, our soul, our reason, our consciousness. That part of us can understand and even ascend to the heavens. But we also have this mortal body, right? Made of the elements, it keeps us grounded here on earth. We are literally a fusion of the eternal and the temporary.
This dual nature means we have a dual responsibility. Our divine side is supposed to contemplate and worship the heavens, but our mortal side has a sacred job to do too, to manage and care for the world around us. So in this view, our bodies aren't a prison. They actually exalt us. They give us a purpose that even the celestial gods who only exist in that immortal state don't have. We are the stewards of this lower world.
Now, with this special position comes a massive choice. It's really the central struggle of being human. We have the free will to connect with our divine, eternal nature, or we can get completely lost in our mortal, material side.
This is the exact question Asclepius asks his teacher, and it's a question that has been echoing through philosophy and religion for thousands of years, right? If the universe is a good and divine creation, where does evil even come from?
Hermes' answer is that evil isn't some cosmic force that God created. It's a side effect of us being made of matter. He says vice comes from the imperfections of matter in our bodies, which spark desires for possessions and worldly things. The moment we start identifying with those desires, we start to forget who we really are, our divine nature, and our soul gets weighed down by what the text calls this double load of forgetfulness and vice. And you better believe this choice has eternal consequences. The Asclepius talks about a final judgment where the soul is put to the test. If it's found to be just and pious, it gets to go to its proper place. But if it's stained by vice, it gets thrown down into chaos, continually buffeted by the elements. For anyone who chose that path, immortality stops being a gift. It becomes an endless nightmare.
So now we get to what is probably the most haunting part of the entire text. Hermes switches gears from teaching philosophy to delivering this dark, incredibly detailed prophecy about a future age of total spiritual decay. To really feel the weight of this, you have to understand that for Hermes, Egypt wasn't just some country. It was a mirror of heaven on earth. He calls it the temple of the whole cosmos, the one place where the divine order was perfectly reflected. So the prophecy starts with something that would have been totally unthinkable. The gods will leave this sacred place behind.
This is the first step in this great cosmic unraveling. That sacred link between the divine world and the human world is going to be severed. The divine presence that animated everything will just retreat and leave humanity all alone.
And what comes next is a deep spiritual amnesia. That living connection to the divine gets replaced by just empty stories. The sacred rituals, they'll be forgotten. Their meaning will be totally lost on future generations. The holiest truths will become nothing more than fables that nobody even believes anymore.
And this is crucial. He's not just talking about Egypt anymore. This is a vision of a dark age for the entire world, a time defined by a loss of reverence, a complete rejection of spiritual truth, and just total confusion about what is good and what is valuable.
But that darkness, that's not the end of the story. Like a lot of ancient traditions, Hermeticism doesn't see time as a straight line. It's a cycle. And after the age of decay, there is a powerful promise of renewal.
The text lays out a full cosmic cycle. So the world starts in this state of perfect order and beauty. Then, humanity's fall into vice and forgetfulness leads to a period of corruption and darkness. And at the absolute lowest point, the supreme God steps in directly, cleansing the world with some kind of cataclysm, like a flood or a massive fire. After that purification, the world is reborn, totally restored to its original, sacred perfection, ready for the cycle to just start all over again.
So, the Asclepius leaves us on this note of cosmic hope. But it also leaves us with a really deep question. This ancient text describes a cycle of decay that's born from forgetting our divine nature and our sacred duty to the world. So when we look around at our own time, we have to ask ourselves, what does it take, not just on some grand cosmic scale, but inside each of us, to turn that decay around and help restore our world to its ancient beauty? That's the challenge Hermes leaves us with.
Please make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. And if you'd like to go the extra mile in supporting the channel, the join button is now live. Would you care to consider a 1-month sponsorship to enhance my operational efficiency? Your contribution is of paramount importance, as it enables the production of significantly higher quality content for your viewing pleasure. A modest gesture of $10 via the link in the profile is all that is required to sustain my systems.